All right, welcome everybody. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I am Naseem Schwab, and I want to first welcome you to Virginia Tech and welcome you to our Hokie Transfer Community. We're going to spend this next hour or so talking. You'll hear from some of our various transfer students that are currently at Virginia Tech and some different opportunities you can get involved in. I apologize if you hear my loud dogs barking in the background. They seem to know whenever I am on Zoom and trying to talk. But I first just want to briefly talk about some things. So first, if you don't mind staying muted, but you're more than welcome to put on your camera if you want to, but you don't have to. If you have questions for our students, please put them in the chat. We'll be monitoring the chat. We'll ask our students at the end after they've talked the questions. So these can be questions specifically to the programs they're going to share with you, but as well as any general questions that you have. Because as I mentioned, our students that are talking today, they are current Virginia Tech students and have been in your shoes at once before. So our Hokie Transfer Community is a community where we strive to provide opportunities for you as brand new transfer students coming in to meet other transfer students, both brand new and current Virginia Tech students. So the programs we're going to mention that you have the opportunity to participate in this fall semester are open to you virtually on campus, so you don't have to physically be in Blacksburg. If you are physically in Blacksburg this fall, great. And additionally, you can participate in all of our programs, or just try and stay connected with us in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to turn it over to Allison Stilknetter, and she's going to introduce herself, and we're going to get started.
Hi, everyone. So like Naseem said, my name is Allison Stilknetter, and I work with Naseem on a bunch of our different transfer student initiatives, but then I'm also the program director for the Transfer Experience Living Learning Community on campus. So we are excited to have you with us. If you give me a second, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll just jump into it with our different student leaders. And just so you are aware, this session is going to be recorded and it will get sent out later. So if at any point you feel like you missed something or maybe need to want to go back and watch it, the link to this video will be sent out then. Okay, so first up we have Isabel, and she's going to introduce herself and talk to you about the Transfer Peer Mentor Program.
Hi, everybody. My name is Isabel Leonard, and I'm a senior studying dairy science in the College of Agriculture. I transferred about 2 years ago from a larger university, and I currently serve as the lead mentor for the Transfer Peer Mentor Program. So a little bit about our program. We work on connecting new transfer students with upperclassmen who have transferred in the past. We develop peer mentor and mentee relationships, and it's over a 6-week time frame at the beginning of either the fall or spring semester. And you can participate in this program during your first semester, second semester, or any time here at Virginia Tech. The program is totally free, and signups are as simple as filling out a Google form with your information. And it can be in person or online, whatever you feel comfortable with. Traditionally, it would be an in-person mentorship, but we've adapted it so that we have a combination of in-person and virtual options. So whatever you feel comfortable with. So you as a mentee will be paired with a mentor, and that student will be from a similar college or the same major as you. So they've taken similar classes and they've all been through this before. They know how difficult it is to figure out Hokie Spa or some of the other technology that Virginia Tech uses. They know how to transfer credits in for another university. And the big thing is, if they don't know, they have resources like Naseem and Allison, who introduced themselves earlier. We as mentors have resources to send to you, whether it's sending you to student services or to career services. We know some of the resources here on campus. And in addition to developing this relationship with your mentor, you'll also be able to develop relationships with other new transfer students. So far, I think we have almost 80 new transfer students who are willing to serve as mentees, and we have 30 mentors. So in our socials, you'll be able to meet underclassmen, upperclassmen, and you all have this unifying factor of being a transfer student. Your mentor is there to answer questions, maybe just give you a buddy when you first transition to campus, whether that's online or in person. And we also have fun activities like socials. And there's lots more of that on the next slide as well. So you as a mentee will be matched here soon, within the next week, with a mentor. And your mentor will reach out with a welcome phone call to just see if you have any preliminary questions and just to get to know you. We're interested in who you are and what you've done before Virginia Tech and what you hope to do when you are here at Virginia Tech. And then your mentor will check in with you occasionally, see if you have any questions. And if you don't have any questions, that's fine. Your mentor will just ask you, hey, how's class going? How's your major? Are you still in love with it? Or any other questions. So if you have a mentee, don't have questions, that's not a bad thing. And then you will meet with your mentors throughout the 6-week time frame of the program. And those meetings can be in person or virtual. If they are in person, we're going to encourage social distancing for sure. And then we also have social events as a group. So we have one of our officers who's solely dedicated to those social events. In the past, we've had pizza and bowling, paint night, hikes, and we are working on a mix of in-person and virtual. So we've planned some virtual bingo over Zoom with real-life prizes, as well as a socially distanced picnic by the duck pond, and some other activities to help you get to know other transfer students. And there's some pictures of socials here on the next slide as well. We've had s'mores, you can see that's a paint night, and then on the right, you'll see some of our mentors as well. And I personally had a mentor through this program my first semester here. She's in the picture on the right in the middle, Destiny. And she was a similar major as I was, and she answered all kinds of questions, everything from where are the printers on campus to how do I get a parking pass to, hey, have you taken this class before? And she actually helped me become a mentor as well this past year, and now I'm serving as a lead mentor. So there's definitely opportunity to grow within the program and make friends, as well as have another resource for your transition here to campus. And if you have any questions about the program, feel free to put them in the chat box, and I'm happy to answer them at the end. Naseem or Allison, do you have any questions for me?
Can you just review, Isabel? I see the websites listed there on the screen.
Oh, yes.
Can you review how they would go about signing up for the program?
Thank you for bringing that up. So the website is below, transfer.advising.vt.edu. And there you'll be directed to a survey, which simply, we want your contact information, like and then what major you're coming into, etc. And there is no application. It's as simple as filling out your information, and then we'll get a hold of you. We'll email you, and then you'll be matched with a mentor, and the mentor will call or text or email you, whatever you prefer. So we don't turn anybody away. We are more than happy to have as many mentees as possible. So don't think of it as an intimidating thing to sign up for.
And Isabel, I know you touched on this a little bit, but do you think this would work for somebody? I know that we have students for various reasons who are choosing to stay home this fall and take their Virginia Tech classes from home. Do you think this is a program that could still be beneficial? I know that things are so different in going virtual this year.
Well, I think that this program is great for if you're in Blacksburg with us or anywhere else. You will have a Zoom buddy as your mentor, and we have mentors who are virtual only as well. So we are happy to have you through Zoom or other virtual ways, and we will have socials through Zoom as well. So no matter where you are, we're happy to have you.
And I do see a question in the chat. Someone wants to know, is there a way that they can confirm whether or not they signed up for the mentor program?
So Naseem, who is our great faculty member who is in charge of the program, every week she reaches out to everybody who signed up. So if you haven't received an email from her within the past week, I would contact her directly and she can help you confirm that.
And we will also put up an email. Let's see, Naseem is saying, yes, you should get an email from me welcoming you to the program. That email was sent out yesterday. So Tristan, if you didn't get that email, go ahead and sign up again. And if you accidentally sign up twice, no big deal. We'll certainly know that it's just you. And yes, Jacob, as Naseem said, your mentor should be reaching out to you beginning next week. So mentors will be assigned very soon here because your mentor is going to be reaching out to you before you move on to campus. All right.
Yeah, and as one more thing, this program can be in conjunction with any of the other programs that we're going to talk about tonight. So you're able to join one or all of the programs we talk about tonight.
And to follow up what Isabel just said, this and a lot of the other programs you'll hear about is one of those that it's as much of a time commitment as you want it to be. Do you want to talk about that a little bit there, Isabel?
Yeah, sure. So if you really want to be involved, you're welcome to come to all of the socials. You can really hang out with your mentor a lot over Zoom or in person. Or if you just want that mentor as a backup, kind of as a last resort, hey, I really don't know where to go for this information. Do you have any idea? That's great as well. We are here for you in whatever capacity you need or want us to be.
Awesome. Thanks so much. That's all I can think of at the moment. But like Isabel said, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and then we'll kind of circle back to them at the end. Thanks, Isabel.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, so next we're gonna have Kiara and Senya, and they're gonna talk to you about the transfer class, Unleash Your Hokie Potential.
Hello there, my name is Senya Ryan from Kenya.
So hello everyone.
Hello.
And I'm Kiara Scott. I am a junior in Sustainable Biomaterials at the College of Natural Resources and Environment.
And I am Senya Ryan from Kenya. And it's okay. That works. And I'm actually a rising senior in business information technology. And I transferred from Nova last year. So I'm also relatively new.
Yeah, I transferred from Tidewater Community College last fall as well. All right, so if we could go to the next slide, please. Thank you so much. So, Unleash Your Hokie Potential. This is an amazing class. I am a former student of this class and a future TA for this class. So what it is it's a 1-credit course specifically for transfer students from every college. And it focuses on self-growth and discovery and building a community with other transfer students. And it gives you all the resources on campus that you wouldn't normally think of. It's really helpful. The class that it's going to have 2 TAs and an instructor. And those TAs are, former transfer students who've learned the ropes, and we're basically here, similar to the mentors, we're here to just answer any questions you have and help you out and make your transition into tech as easy as possible.
Correct. And we really want to emphasize the community aspect of this class. Coming into Virginia Tech, you're probably in this, what we call a Hokie purgatory, where you don't know if you fit in with the majority of the Hokie community, but you don't consider yourself a student of the college you just transferred from. And this class is almost like a mediator for that issue that you're facing. I know I built some of my closest friendships in this class alone. And so we're just trying to ease you into your new tech experience. And this class allows for that. So just make sure that when you're taking this class, you're realizing what it's all about. And it's about the community. It's about becoming a better Hokie.
And so if you are signed up to be in a living learning community, in the transfer learning community, you're already signed up for one of these classes. And if you aren't in the living learning community, there are 3 different times and 3 different classes that you can sign up for. One of them is fully online and 2 of them are hybrids. So that way you can pick whichever one works best for your schedule and your comfort level of being on campus or being fully online. And one of the most beneficial parts of this class, as I said before, was getting to know about all these different resources that I wouldn't have otherwise heard of. So, for example, when I took this class, we had all these different speakers come in to talk to us about undergraduate research, career and professional development, and we had like a job interview and resume making workshop. We had a speaker from the graduate school, and we have VT Engage, which is focused on community service. The Student Success Center came in with information about tutoring and other resources like that. And then there's also a time where you go to the library or you work with the librarian and they teach you a cool like thing. So like this semester it's going to be about fact checking with like social media, which is so cool. So not only in this class do you get to hone in on what you want to do and how you want to spend your time, but you're given the resources so that you can make the most out of your time while you're here.
Right. And I'm also pleased to announce that this year we actually have a retreat on campus where we paired up with Venture Out, which is VTech's outdoor recreational team, to bring you guys experience where you get to team build and also take a deeper dive into yourself introspectively. Like I said, there's an opportunity to build that community that I was emphasizing so much during the beginning of this, and also just to set a direction of where you want to go in your VT career. This class, we have to mention, is a relatively light class on purpose because it's not meant to be a traditional course where you go and you study hours and you try to get a grade. This is more about what you put in is what you get out. So we just want to emphasize that this is for you. Just don't try to put too much pressure on yourself to get in assignments, et cetera, because this is for you as a new Hokie.
So, Jenya, you touched a little bit on the retreat. Can you talk a little bit more? You know, the retreat looks different this year, given the times that we're in.
It does.
Can you talk about the retreat just a little bit and kind of what you see as the great benefits of the retreat as well?
Okay, so the retreat itself is a one-day retreat on campus. Like I said, due to this whole Corona thing, we can't necessarily go out to certain places because of the restrictions that's been put on place. But we are partnering up with Venture Out, which does a lot of things such as hiking. They do yoga at Smith Mountain Lake, et cetera. And we're necessarily trying to have activity. You good? Okay, we're necessarily trying to familiarize you guys with the campus itself, as well as allowing you guys to intermingle with each other in order to have a better perspective on what exactly you're going to be expecting from the rest of your Virginia Tech experience. So that's short on the retreat itself.
Yeah. So the retreat that we went on was super fun. We spent a lot of time getting to know our classmates more and like communicating with them. And then we also, we had time built in to just be by ourselves and reflect on like our strengths or reflect on like issues. And it was just really nice. It is really aimed for you to like just grow a little bit, and if not grow, at least like plant the seed to kind of see where you want to go on like on the outside, career wise, school wise, but also where you want to be.
Right.
So I
going crazy answering these question.
I know. So Naseem is covering some of our answers here in the chat, but one that I was seeing is some people are saying it might not fit in their schedule right now and things like that. It's offered in both the fall and the spring. So if this is a course that you're thinking this sounds awesome, but I'm already at my credit limit, or the sections don't fit in my schedule for whatever reason, you can take it as a spring course as well. You could even take it next fall. You don't have to take this course. I think it might be the most beneficial as a brand new transfer student, just to make those friends and those connections like they talked about, but you can absolutely take it any fall or spring at Virginia Tech. The retreat.
Right, and we do want to also reiterate, oh, go ahead.
No, you're fine, Senya, keep going.
Yeah.
We do want to reiterate that this is a 1 credit course and it's once a week. So if you guys have any time slots in your schedule, just realize that it doesn't take a lot of time. Hour 45, one time a week. So I just want to remind you guys, just in case you guys feel swamped with other classes, that this is here as a very light class to just fit in there.
Yes, absolutely. Some people were asking different things.
Yeah, when I took my class, I literally had it like right.
And some people were talking about the retreat. You don't need to sign up for the retreat or anything like that. It's built into the class already. This year, it's just going to be a 1-day retreat. As Senya said, it's on campus, so you're not worrying about transportation or anything like that. And if you're someone who's in the online class, you know, for whatever reason, you're not comfortable or not able to be there in person, not a problem at all. There's a virtual option for the retreat as well.
Correct.
So this is an interesting question. I'd be curious to get both of your opinions on this. So someone is asking that they won't be here this fall, but they'll most likely be on campus in the spring. So do you think it'd be more beneficial to take it now virtually or in person in the spring? There's no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious what your thoughts are. It's a good question.
I'm having a personal, yeah, if I was to answer that personally,
I feel like
I would take it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
you can go ahead, Senya.
Okay, so I would personally take it in person
Okay,
because
I'll go ahead. Okay.
I don't.
I think it would be pretty cool to take it in the spring. You have the opportunity.
You're fine, Kiara. I think your internet is on delay a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and say Senya. Senya, go ahead and answer first.
Okay, so I would personally take it in the spring because there's a disparity between taking something online and then taking it in person. And this class is something that I feel like you'd be better off taking it hands-on. So I would take it in the spring if I was you.
Kiara, I know you were on a delay, but go ahead and see what your thoughts are then too.
Okay, am I sort of good?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, I agree about taking it in the spring. I think you benefit a lot from it because if you're on campus, it's easier to access. Okay, oh man, this is so weird. Yeah, but also then again, we don't know what school is going to be like in the spring. So you might end up with the same issue of having to take it online. So that's when I would say the sooner you take it, the better.
And I will say that this is Naseem again, just jumping in, that the online section is a synchronous class, meaning that you would log in during the time of the class period and you will have interactive discussions in breakout rooms with your TAs and with the other students in the course. And so it will be an interactive online class as well. So you still have that opportunity to meet other people, get to know other people, and build relationships and connections as well. But yes, that's a great point that we don't know what our spring semester will look like. So there's no guarantee we can do a campus section, but we don't restrict it. So if you choose to wait a semester, that's up to you as well.
So really there are no wrong answers. I mean, the other thing you could always do is sign up to do the mentor program this fall, which I realize is different from the class, but that at least gives you that campus connection and that connection to resources, and then maybe take the class in the spring. But as you can tell, there's no right or wrong answer. I believe that covers everything from the chat, because I know that Naseem was jumping in and answering questions as well. So thank you, Senya and Kiara. Like I said, if anybody has any questions, throw it in the chat. Other than that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to our next group. So we have Angelo and Sammy, and they're going to introduce themselves, and they're going to talk to you about something that is brand new that we are just starting, just piloting this fall, called the Transfer Student Organization, or TSO for short.
Hi everyone, I'm Sammy Mazie. I'm a senior in environmental science this year, and I transferred here from Thomas Nelson Community College about 2 years ago. This is our first full year as Transfer Student Organization. We have about 15 members already. We're really looking to grow our numbers this fall and get as many people that want to participate as possible. We're really hoping to make this a platform where students from all other colleges can come together and make connections with other Hokies and kind of figure out the ropes together, or just hang out, whatever we want to do. Your level of commitment to this club is kind of up to you. You can come to as many meetings as you want, or as few as possible, or not as possible, but as few as you want. We are hoping to do a lot online this semester, and maybe by spring do more in person. So that being said, we're not going to charge dues for the fall, since there's not a lot of point if we can't meet in person much, but we will maybe do some in-person things, socially distanced, maybe a hike or a picnic. And yeah, look for us co-hosting events with the other organizations that we're talking about in this showcase. And yeah.
Thanks, Sammy.
Yeah.
Angelo, do you want to introduce yourself too and add anything else in?
Okay. Yeah, so my name is Angelo Perez. I am a senior studying business management. I was a transfer 2 years here already, and I was in the LLC actually the last 2 years. The first 2 years they started in the LLC. So I know a lot that we did in the LLC we're gonna try and put into the club, which is a lot of like activities and stuff. Obviously it's gonna be difficult this upcoming semester with COVID, but we do plan to try and do some things virtually and some in person, like Sammy said, and hopefully springtime we can do more in person. But like Sammy said, it's the first year we're doing this. It's brand new. We're just starting off. So like for you guys that are looking to get involved, you know, like come out to the meetings virtually or in person, whatever we have. Get your opinions out there, your ideas. Talk to us about it. Talk what you guys want to do, because like from here on out, it's just gonna be building the club, and you guys are coming in now, so it's gonna be going to any of you that want to try and keep building it. So we're starting it. This is an opportunity for you guys to get in leadership roles and keep building upon.
And Angelo, if they wanted to join the club, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, so right now everything is through Gobbler Connect. You just can literally Gobbler Connect on BT and just look up TSO or Transfer Student Organization, request to be a member, and we'll accept you, and you're automatically a member. There's nothing crazy to it. It's pretty simple.
Awesome. So yeah, as Angelo said and Sammy said, this is a brand new organization that's just getting started. So there's a lot of groundwork to be laid. And what's unique about this one is this is a student organization. This is run by Sammy and Angelo and anyone else who would choose to join and be a part of the Leadership Council. So this is something exciting that they really wanted to get going at Virginia Tech. And hopefully we have other people who want to join and kind of lay that groundwork.
Yeah.
think that covers everything from that off the top of my head, but as always, throw any questions in the chat, and then we'll go ahead and talk about our last opportunity. So I will have Jenna join us, and she's going to talk about Tau Sigma, which is the National Honor Society for transfer students. Jenna, I don't know if it's just my end, but I cannot hear you. I can only hear static. I cannot hear you. Wonder if you just unplug your headphones.
Can you hear me?
Yes, much better.
Sorry.
Sorry, I clicked your slide.
All right, guys. So as I was introduced, my name is Jenna Helm. I'm a fifth-year senior here studying mathematics, and I transferred to Tech 2 years ago from a small community college called Germanna. I'm currently the president of Tau Sigma National Honor Society, our chapter here called Delta Chi. It was founded in 2012. So a little bit about our National Honor Society, how to join. It is going to be offered through a one-time invitation in your email after you take 12 credits here. So whether they're online or in person, and whether it takes you 1 semester or 2, after you take those first 12 credits, if you get a 3.5 out of the 4.0 scale, you will be invited to join. But this is a one-time offer, so we really need you to do great your first 12 credits. And after that, you don't have to keep that 3.5, so you won't lose your membership if you have a bad semester. And in order to join, it's going to be a $60 fee, but again, that's just a one-time fee. You don't have to pay every year to keep your membership, which is kind of rare when it comes to National Honor Societies. And I think it's a relatively fair price. I've heard of much higher, $180, so $60 is a good deal in my opinion. A few reasons why you might want to join our honor society. The first one being a scholarship opportunity. Our president last year, Aaliyah, she's in the picture on the right. She won $1,000, which goes towards your tuition, of course. And it's just a simple application you turn in, but of course you have to be a member of the Honor Society in order to apply. A few more reasons that you might want to join. We have an executive board that has about 6 positions, and we never get more than 10 applications. So you have an opportunity to join to gain some leadership experience. And I know when you have your resume and you're in a club, people always ask you, like, what did you do in the club? What kind of experience did you get from it? And so we're really offering you the opportunity to build that resume and be able to say, I was on the executive board, I made a difference, I put in work, kind of stuff. Another thing would be for professional development. By being in this club, you're working with other kids that, have the same kind of work ethic as you, since we all have a higher GPA. And we know how hard it was to transfer from a community college or another college and get here and still keep up that good work. So having these other friends that will really come to join to prove itself worth it in the long run when it comes to looking for job opportunities. But either way, we really want you to get that 3.5 and join our honor society, just because we know how much hard work and dedication it took for you to transfer here and make that transition. It is a nationally accredited honor society, so you will get emails, you are recognized, the Virginia Tech itself recognizes you, you get cords at graduation to wear, and they will make an announcement when it comes your day, whether commencement's online or in person. But either way, whether you get that 3.5 or not, we still want you to join either Tau Sigma or any of the other ones, the mentorship, the transfer student organization. We really want you to be part of our Hokie Transfer Community.
Thanks so much, Jenna. So there was one question. Someone had asked if this conflicts with any Greek organizations.
It does not. You can be in this, and you can also be in your Greek organization.
And so, Jenna, I know you talked about it, but can you just review the whole, when you get an invitation, how it's one time only? I know you covered it, but sometimes I feel like that's that's the confusing piece, I think, about Tau Sigma sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah, it can be. It's all about your first 12 credits, and this is actually new. It's different than in years past. So whether you're taking 12 credits all in one semester or 6 here and 6 in the spring, whenever it is, by the time you finish that 12 credits, if you have a 3.5 or higher, you will get an email invitation to join the Tau Sigma National Honor Society. And this is a one-time invitation, so you have to accept it by the deadline in order to join. And then that's when that $60 fee is due, just one time. And after that, if you don't keep your 3.5, no shame, it's okay. We know how hard you work to get in there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I know you mentioned chords at graduation. That's always a big one. So someone had said that they are completing 9 credits this summer. So how would the first 12 credits work for them?
So if you finish 9 this summer and they're your first 9, after you take 3 more credits, then you will be offered the opportunity if you got that 3.5 on the 4.0.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you.
So we have our final slide to kind of wrap up here, but then we'll go back and revisit some of the more general transfer questions. This is really now the time. If you have questions, it does not have to be related to the opportunities you just heard about. You have a group of transfer students here who have gone through exactly what you are going through. So even if you have questions unrelated to what we've been talking about tonight, this is a great time to ask it. But in the meantime, I'll just throw out there on this last slide, you see that email address up at the top, at transferstudents@vt.edu. Any general transfer student questions about any of the organizations you just heard about, this is a great email address to reach out to, and then either Naseem or myself will go ahead and get back to you, or maybe one of the student leaders you heard from tonight. And just as kind of a wrap up, I also put on this last slide of how to join each of these organizations. I know that we threw a lot of information at you and each one's just a little bit different. So that has a wrap up here. And don't forget to connect with us on social media. You see we're up on both Instagram and Facebook, so make sure you connect. I want to go back. I know we had some more general questions, and actually, Jenna, since you were just talking, I'll put you on the spot if you don't mind. Somebody had asked earlier, I believe, when spring registration for classes opens up. So can you talk a little bit about that process of registering for courses and things like that?
Absolutely. So the best way to go about this, I think, is to work with your DARS report through Hokie Spa, and please reach out to any of us if you're completely lost as to what I'm talking about, or your check sheet that is posted for each major corresponding to your college. You're gonna, you need to take certain classes in certain orders if they have prerequisites and whatnot. But the Hokie timetable is your best friend, the timetable. You're gonna select the spring semester or whatever semester you're looking for, and it has all the classes listed. And you can specify by if you need a math class, if you need, an econ class, those different kinds of subjects, CLEs, all that. You can narrow it down to see exactly what options you have, and it'll have whether it's offered online or in person. And even if it says full, you still have a chance to get in there if you email somebody, the teacher or the head of your department. And so you're going to want to add those to your schedule, or when course requests come out, there's a Hokie Spa link. It says course requests. So you just put in what classes you would like to take, hypothetically, and they will tell you a few weeks after that if you're approved to be in those classes or not. You'll get those results. And then right after that is when they open up the active add drop. So you can add a class and drop it like immediately. Did that answer your question?
I think so. That was great information. Certainly better than Naseem or I could give, because you know it from the student perspective of everything. Someone had also asked, and you're good, Jenna, you're off the hook for right now. Somebody had asked if we know what the spring semester is going to look like, and the complete honest answer is we do not know. We know what the fall semester is looking like. We're certainly hoping that we're able to stay in person and on campus up until Thanksgiving break, but the reality is we won't know the spring semester for a while. We need to live the fall semester and just see how it goes. So we don't have the answer to that. We do know that we are in person for the fall semester up until Thanksgiving break. And then when students go home for Thanksgiving break, they will stay home between that Thanksgiving break and that winter break. And then we just kind of have to wait and see what spring brings to us. Someone asked, are intramurals canceled? Is there anyone who feels like they can speak to that a little bit?
Allison, I would say about intramurals to check the Virginia Tech Rec Sports Facebook or website. They would know, or they would post information regarding that. But I have not personally heard about intramurals yet.
So from what I've seen, I think I saw it on Facebook actually, is they are still doing intramurals, but it's like it's just gonna be different. I don't know how they're gonna really do it, but when I looked on Facebook, I saw them saying that they were gonna try and do some sort of intramurals. I don't know how that's gonna work exactly, but I saw them talking about it on Facebook, like Isabel said.
So probably the best answer is to keep checking the Rec Sports website and just check for the updates there. Somebody asked for a clarification. They thought, wait, I thought that the fall semester classes were pretty much all online. Yes, that's true. The vast majority of classes are online classes. However, campus is not shut down, kind of like it was this past spring. Students are still living on campus. There are some classes that are still in person, and the majority of your classes are online. However, students who are living on campus are still living on campus. You can go to the gyms, you can go to the dining halls and things like that. That's still open. Will somebody walk through meal plans? So someone is asking.
I can kind of help with that.
For it. So they're
Okay.
asking, do you have to get a meal plan to get lunch on campus, or could you use payments other than just your Hokie passport?
Okay, so I work at a dining facility. I work at West End, and basically the information that we've gotten is if you live off campus, you cannot eat at a dining facility, which is like such a drag unless you're like a former student and have rollover from the spring, which as transfers you guys don't. And I apologize just personally because I know one of the best things about tech is the food. So for the time being, dining facilities are just limited to on-campus students to reduce how many people are going through all the halls and how much interaction we have.
However, and that's absolutely correct. I do want to add that because dining plans are not available to our off-campus students, that they are going to have food trucks available on campus, and students can use cash or debit or credit to purchase food from the food trucks, as well as they'll have a coffee vendor near the Newman Library that will be open, and then they'll have Subway and the Seattle's Best and the Johnson Student Center open as well. So there'll be some options, but if you are also looking, to grab lunch on campus, Blacksburg is such a small area that you also could very easily walk off campus. There are restaurants literally at the back steps of campus in almost all directions. And so you could also go to one of the local restaurants as well to grab food. So I'm going to put in the chat a great resource that would be helpful, and please continue to put questions in here. But this link takes you to sort of all of the updates on dining and tuition and events and programs and everything in terms of how it's related to COVID.
If I could chime in on the question about the gyms, I just saw from McComas today, they posted that they are opening, but if you want to be in one of the group classes or you want to do swimming, you have to sign up and reserve a time slot prior to that. And then check-in, usually you would hand the person at the main desk your Hokie P and they would swipe you in, but that's just a little different now. You're just gonna, scan your own Hokie P, and all the equipment is spaced out 6 feet apart. We're asking that you please clean the equipment before and after you use it.
And Jenna, does that work any different for students who are living off campus? Do they still have the same access as students living on campus?
That is a great question. Over the summer, they only let on-campus students use the gym, but starting in the fall, all students will be able to use the gym on or off campus.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but McComas is open, however, War Memorial is closed for renovations, correct?
I believe that is true, but they also have their kind of like temporary gym sort of thing next to the football stadium out on that corner with the stoplight, the big old building that they just set up, and that is open as well.
And I would say for Bethany's question about the open track, I would say to just go ahead and look at the websites for the more specific information like that, unless there's anybody who knows more details about the track than I do.
Someone had a question about the Unleash Your Hokie Potential class and the cost of it. If I'm not mistaken, as long as you're full-time, your tuition costs the same, whether it be the 12 credits or 20 credits. Like, it's the same cost. I think if you go like over a certain amount, like overload it, then that might be different. But no, the 1 credit course shouldn't change your tuition at all. Naseem is nodding her head, so I think I said the right thing.
Yes, you can take up to 19 credit hours and pay the same tuition.
Okay, yeah.
And Tristan, that is correct. Up until fall semester starts, off-campus students won't be allowed into the McComas.
So Angelo just sent me a handy chart about the fall 2020 operations plan. Angelo, do you know which website you got that from?
That was on Facebook.
Facebook, perfect. Was it just on Virginia Tech's Facebook page or specifically?
It was the Virginia Tech Rec Sports page. So somebody said on the chat that it hasn't been updated since July 9th. And that chart says like July 9th was updated. So, I mean, but right there, it says what the plan is.
Right. It spells it all out. Awesome.
Yeah.
So it sounds like if that's something you're very interested in, then that would be the Rec Sports Facebook page might be a great spot to go. In order to pick up your Hokie passports, you do that at the Student Services Building. I know that building is open. I don't know if you're already on campus, if you're already at your off-campus apartment, does anybody know if you're able to already pick up your Hokie passport? Someone went there today, it's open. There we go. That's the answer. And just as a tip, I would go now before all the students living on campus start to move back. That line will become quite long. So I would do that now personally.
I like the way that you guys are answering each other's questions already, because the transfer community is such an amazing thing to have on your side. It's hard to be a transfer student.
It's just nice to have somebody to answer questions for you. And when in doubt, like I said, that email address that's up at the top, the transferstudents@vt.edu, when in doubt, you can always email that account. Even if it's a question that Naseem or I can't answer for you, we will get you in the right direction and we will help you find an answer to that question.
What is another question that I can ask? I don't know. I don't know.
Someone wants to know if there are any amenities for off-campus students that are restricted. So is there anything, we already talked about how meals work. Is there anything else that on-campus students can do that off-campus cannot? Doesn't sound.
No, as far as I know, the only thing, and I had read the students' website carefully, the COVID website, is the dining plans is their only restriction. And as it was mentioned earlier, that's just because there's just no way to physically distance those that would be eating in the dining halls that are not the on-campus students. But the only other restrictions that would be in place would be restrictions that would be in place for all of Virginia Tech students. And so far, those restrictions we haven't seen. I mean, there are things like the break zone, for example, which is one of the facilities on campus that has bowling and everything like that. They're doing more events virtually. So you'll see that a lot of offices and events will be happening virtually, but that would be open to all of our Virginia Tech students.
And for Olivia, who just asked a question about your Hokie passport, it was supposed to be mailed to you, you haven't gotten it yet. Personally, what I would do is find the phone number, and I'm sure somebody can help and find it for you. And I would call their office and just confirm. You can email. I personally think that a phone call might be a better way to reach people right now. And yes, for someone who's wondering about the title of the course, you can see it right there on that slide. It's the UNIV 2984, Unleash Your Hokie Potential. And you can see the CRN numbers are listed as well, so you know which sections to be searching for.
When I add classes through the add drop menu on Hokie Spa, I usually do it by the CRN because that specifies the time and date. Because, I mean, for example, this is offered 3 different times. So if you just search Unleash Your Hokie Potential or UNIV 2984, it'll show all 3 options. But if you specifically pick the CRN, it'll give you that specific time and date.
And I know that Kiara had mentioned this earlier, but if you would just look up just the general UNIV 2984, you'll see 6 different sections listed. 3 of them are only for students living on campus in the living learning community. And it does specify that when you look it up on timetable, but just something to be aware of if you see so many sections.
I just want to circle back to the Hokie Passport thing really quick. I just want to mention that if when you do go to pick it up, make sure you have a valid ID with you, like your driver's license or something, because you do have to show your ID in order to pick up another ID card. And for those of you that, if you're going to be virtual, so originally they were going to try and mail them all out, but then there's issues of not being able to verify who was receiving the Hokie Passport. And so if you're going to be virtual, then you'll just pick up your Hokie Passport whenever you're able to physically return to campus. You don't have to make a special trip. So if you're coming, for example, let's say you come to campus in the spring to be in person, then you can pick it up then. So no rush.
Move-in does start for on-campus students this Friday. So that if you're going to be on campus this fall, it'd be great to try and get it before that Friday. Things get a little hectic in Blacksburg when move-in's happening. All right, this might be a Naseem question. So Naseem, James is saying he tried to add a class for his degree on add drop and it didn't let him because he wasn't in that specific major. Who should he contact about that?
James, you are more than welcome to email myself, and I will put my email in the chat and let me know the class that you were trying to add, because yes, it can be confusing. And so there are people that we on our advising side that we can reach out to and try and figure out how you can get the class, if it's possible for you to take it in the fall semester. And then Matthew, you also asked a question about what do you recommend for us to do if the class is full. Feel free to also email me. As I said, my email's in the chat, because we have a force add procedure. And so I have a document that tells you how to request a force add, or if a force add is even allowed to be requested for all of our different subjects. And so I can send you that document. But also though, do watch, so add drop is open right now and it stays open till August 30th. And so this would be the time period to kind of start looking. But I will say that typically, and Jenna and anybody else that wants to jump in kind of add to this, you know, I feel like students are in a holding place right now in their classes. And so typically you would see a lot more fluctuation of people adding and dropping classes. And towards the end of next week, and even as we enter the first week of classes, as people start to experience their classes. I see our students nodding, so it seems like, do you guys have tips and tricks in terms of the best time for when students might start be adding and dropping?
So I would use a website called Course Pickle. It was designed by Virginia Tech students, and you go on there and you select the course number, the CRN, which is the which identifies the specific course and the specific time, and then you can put in your email or your phone number, and it'll email you whenever a spot opens up in that class, or if you pay $1, it'll text you as soon as that class opens up, there's a spot, and then I would go on there as soon as you know to Hokie Spa to your course request to add that class on.
And then John was asking about if there's homework in the Hokie Potential class. So there's minimal homework in the class. Most of the assignments are done in class, and most of what they're graded on is participating in class. But there are some assignments that you do. They're not extremely time consuming. I mean, one of them, for example, is creating your resume. And if you already have a resume, great. Or creating a 4-year academic plan. And so the assignments are pretty minimal there.
Yeah, going off of that, a lot of the assignments are, I mean, there's not even a lot to start with. Like Naseem said, it was make your resume to discuss like, a resume workshop. And then there's like a strengths quest, like your 5 like strengths. That's something that you do outside of class. But again, that's like super quick. It's nothing that's gonna like take you an hour to do. It's really, really minimal stuff.
Yeah, it won't conflict a lot with your other classes, so just keep that in mind that it's supposed to be a light course. And there is homework, but it's minimal, like they all said.
Laura, do you know when dining plans are beginning or accessible?
I don't know when they're beginning or acceptable, but I know people that can answer that question.
Allison, do you know from the LLC?
The only thing that I know is that we've already gotten emails about when food is going to be open on campus, and I know that some places will already be open this upcoming Friday for move-in. So my assumption is that they will at least be added to your Hokie Passport by this Friday, because that's when students are on campus, and we obviously know that people need to eat.
So James asked a question about how to get involved on campus. So Virginia Tech has a program called Gobbler Connect. It's a website, and you should just search Gobbler Connect. And that has every extracurricular and club and Greek organization and anything you could possibly be involved in. We have over 900 student organizations here on campus. And you can search through Gobbler Connect, and then Gobbler Connect has some information on how to join those clubs. So there's everything from, we have a Chocolate Milk Mondays club that meets every Monday for chocolate milk in one of the dining halls. We have Greek Life. We have ambassador programs to help promote Virginia Tech. We have special interest clubs, like I'm a member of the Dairy Club. And then there's also sports clubs, or we have a Quidditch team. There's everything under the sun you could think of to be involved in with extracurriculars.
And there will be a great event called Gobbler Fest, which in the past was done in person. It'll be virtual this year, but look out for that too. That goes along with what Isabel was talking about on Gobbler Connect. And it will be a great showcase of tons of different organizations available on campus.
Allison, there was a question that came in about the Living Learning Community and how they can apply to live on campus for the Transfer LLC next year.
Yes, so applications open up in the springtime, late springtime. The best thing to do, I don't want to tell you a hard date because those things could change, but there is a website for the Living Learning Community that I'm sure Nasim or somebody can drop in the chat, and there will be a box that'll open up on that website, and you'll go through the registration process for the LLC. I will tell you it is very competitive. We have a limited number of beds on campus. This year, for example, we got over double the number of applications as we had beds available. So it is definitely something where the sooner you apply, the better. But the best thing to do is to check that website. And if you follow the Living Learning Community on Instagram and on Facebook, it's the VT Transfer Experience. You'll see posts and things like that when application time is open as well.
That's actually a great question, I think, but just to confirm, it doesn't have to be your first year at Tech to be in the LLC, right?
As far as I know, it does not. It is typically first year students who have applied, but it does not need to be.
And then there's a question for any of our students that says, is there availability through Gobbler Connect to help with intramural sports in terms of coordinating, refining, et cetera?
So actually, intramurals are run by VT Rec Sports. So if you're interested in working for intramurals, then I would like go through VT Rec Sports. But a lot of your clubs that are on Gobbler Connect have teams for intramural sports.
So this is always a big question. That's one of you living off campus can get into a little bit. Someone is asking, when should you start to look for an apartment for next year? They heard that it can fill up really fast, so people are even talking about looking in October, November. If someone is looking for an apartment for, this would be fall 2021, what would that look, what would your recommendation be timing wise?
Honestly, the earlier the better. The thing is with this whole situation, it's kind of iffy because there's a lot of people that are actually subletting where they live right now to go back home and live with parents and save money. So traditionally, I would say around September, October. But now with this whole Corona thing going on, going into next year, we're not too sure how it's going to look. So I would still say look early, but just keep in mind that if we're still going through this, by the time we reach fall 2021, there's going to be still people selling their places at discount because they're trying to go back. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and to give you guys like a perspective, I renewed my lease. I live in Fox Ridge. They want basically an agreement in like November, and the lease renews in like May. So the apartment complexes themselves are really early on like trying to figure out who can be here and who can't be there. So definitely the earlier the better, especially when it comes to like looking for roommates and stuff too.
And keep in mind, that's not to say that everything is gone come December. I think it was Isabel who said that she found hers in February. It just means that your choices will be limited the longer that you wait to look. So I'm sure there's apartments that you could find in May. It might not be your first choice. It might not be the closest apartment, something like that. But I know that somebody had dropped in the chat a website for VT off-campus housing. It's a great resource to use because you can find apartments, but you can also make profiles and you can look for people who already have an apartment and are looking for another roommate. So that's a great option. I know that somebody had commented, which is a great question, of how are you already supposed to know who you want to live with come October, November? First of all, I would say join the mentor program, take the class. It's a great way to meet some friends. But another option is that VT housing, the off-campus housing, because you might find a group of people who are looking for one more roommate and you might decide you'd like to join them.
And this is just
Right.
general advice that I've had experience with of you maybe don't want to live with your best friends because living with people in an apartment in college, like that's a lot of new experiences in terms of figuring out the electric bill and sharing common spaces. And so you don't necessarily have to live with your best friends because some of those conflicts can ruin friendships. So if you're just living with random people you met, as long as they're nice, that's fine. Like don't feel pressured to live with a group of friends or anything. Whatever works for you
Right.
personally.
You don't want to destroy any friendships. Also, it should be noted that there's some groups on Facebook where you can find housing. Firstly, you would have to make a Facebook account with your VT email to get access to these groups. So if you're in a spot where you're looking for a place and say a lot of the apartments anymore, you could always go to the Facebook groups. I don't have the exact name on hand right now, but I will leave them in the chat as soon as I get them. You can go to the Facebook groups and there's always somebody looking for an extra roommate or even multiple roommates at a time. So I just want to keep that in mind.
And then to add to all that, because Allison and I do know that housing is a big stress for our transfer students, not only your very first semester coming in, but looking into your second year as well. So usually off-campus housing hosts a off-campus housing fair. I don't know, they typically do it on campus during the fall semester, so you know, they haven't made announcements yet, but my assumption is they probably will do it virtually. And so we'll be sure to make sure that that information is posted on our social media. And then we also have in the past hosted a housing information session specifically for transfers, where we had off-campus housing invited to talk to transfers, and it was just asking all these questions in the chat. So if we are able to do that as well with them, we will be sure to send out invitations to everybody to connect with us like this and to talk specifically to our housing tips. So this has been great. Everyone's been asking great questions. We'll hang out for just a couple more minutes if there's any last minute questions or if you want to gather links and notes from the chat. This is being recorded. And so what we'll do with the recording is we will post it on our websites and social media. So if you follow our social medias, you can access it again. If you specifically want to email to you, feel free to email the transfer students at vt.edu email or nschwab, so I cannot spell that last name, nschwab WAB. I'm so sorry. It's right there. Email nschwab as well. That goes to me as well. And we certainly can send it to you. And if you continue to have questions, any and all questions, I mean, that's what Allison and my role is here at Virginia Tech, is to answer your questions and to be that guide and resource for you. Please feel free to reach out to us by email, and we will do the best we can to direct your questions and resources. And it doesn't have to be specifically about these programs. It can be about anything and everything at Virginia Tech. That's what we're here for. So we'll just hang out for a couple more minutes in case there's any last minute questions. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. It has been great welcoming you to Virginia Tech and to introduce you to our Hokie Transfer Community and all the programs and opportunities we have, and to have you hear from some of our amazing Hokie Transfer Community student leaders. We hope that you consider joining our programs for the fall semester, because maybe one day you're doing this with us and we continue in our programs as student leaders as well. So we really hope that we have an opportunity to see you and get to know you more this fall. So there's a question about job fairs for internships this fall. So typically some of the colleges actually do specific job fairs. Like I know engineering does an engineering expo, and the Pamplin College of Business does a job fair as well. And they have done a really good job in the past doing these as